Hey everybody, Joe Joseph here for thedailySheeple.com, and this is your news shot. So Zero Hedge is highlighting Paul Craig Roberts' piece, whose bright idea was RussiaGate? And that's a very good question, because we know from the outset that the whole Russia narrative is completely manufactured and false with the express intent of neutering President Trump's ability to be able to normalize relations with Russia. And so it's been a huge deep state clandestine operation to, and not only that, but, also any political opponents, of course, have jumped on this bandwagon and turned it into something that it should totally not be. Interestingly enough, though, there isn't enough outrage at all the taxpayer dollars that have been wasted on a complete and total hoax. And then you take into account the fact that, Julian Assange has openly come out and said, hey, President Trump, if you throw me a pardon, I'll give you what I got. I'll let you know exactly who gave me this information. But he's not going to give it up for nothing. He's not going to give it up to Mueller and his team of lawyers just to, be stuck at the Ecuadorian embassy in London for years and years and years like he already has. I mean, mind you, remember, I think it was like 2012 that he got stuck there. So he's been there for 5 years. 5 years stuck in the same building. It's a prison sentence. But then again, a lot of us that fight for humanity, for our humanity, for what humanity represents and what it should be, we're often vilified, we're persecuted, and it's not a comfortable lifestyle, believe me. And you can't help but do it because you see the way the world's going, and you just can't imagine your kids living in a world like we live in today. And I'm glad to see so many people that have stepped up to fight against a well-entrenched and established system that seems to have run its course, but won't give up the fight as it crumbles to the ground. And Paul Craig Roberts penned a very brief piece, but one that I think needs attention. He says the CIA and the military security complex need an enemy in order to justify their huge budgets and unaccountable power. So Russia has been assigned that role, and the Democrats even joined in a way as a way of attacking Trump. They hoped to have him tarnished as cooperating with Russia to steal the presidential election from Hillary and to have him impeached. Now, I don't think, he writes, the Democrats have considered the consequence of further worsening relations between U.S. and Russia. See, public Russia bashing predates Trump. It's been going on in neoconservative circles privately for years, but appeared publicly during the Obama regime when Russia blocked Washington's plans to invade Syria and then to bomb Iran. And rightfully so, Russia is treaty bound with those two countries and considers them allies. So, of course, they're going to do whatever they have to do to protect their allies. And being a veto-wielding member of the UN Security Council, they're going to use that power to be able to protect their allies, no different than we would, say, with Israel, who also commits human crimes and human atrocities, much like the United States, much like every other country. That's the thing about the United States that really bothers me. It boils my blood. Everybody's like, well, freedom and democracy. This country, you don't get it. No, I do get it. I do get it. People have become so self-centered and apathetic that they can't even see what's staring right in front of their face. And the fact is that we aren't the bastion of freedom and democracy that the propaganda claims that we are. No, as a matter of fact, I challenge anybody out there to go travel around the world, as I did, and see how people view the United States from outside the borders of the United States. And what you'll come to find is that an entirely different picture is painted. We are looked at, most of the world, as an empire, as a country that goes and takes over smaller countries or ones that perhaps have resources that we want to exploit. Now, mind you, it doesn't matter if you don't want to. The fact of the matter is we're all lumped in with the neocons and the control freaks. And it's the great Satan, the United States, that everybody sees. Because we're the ones going all over the world telling people how to live and what to do and all of these other things when we have no place to say it. We have 900 military bases in over 130 countries. Why? What are we doing that requires that much infrastructure? You know, and at our expense, when don't you think we have plenty of problems we need to deal with at home? And then a lot of people will say, well, you know, it's because of what we do in the world that the world is, a peaceful place. And we can raise our kids in peace because of all the things we do across the globe. And that's a total and complete falsehood. Fact is we possess a technology now. We don't need to be anywhere. We have the reach out and touch someone capability, and we can do it in a matter of minutes, and it doesn't need to be a nuclear attack. The technology we possess is unrivaled throughout the world. Only maybe by a couple of countries, but even then, I doubt it. So, that's not an excuse. You talk about raising our kids, we're in this free society. It's not free. Look at the police. Look at the police and what they do. Look at what our intervention has caused with blowback and what that entails. Look at this Las Vegas shooting. Just wait. I'm sure there's going to be a lot more that comes out with regards to it. But you got Antifa. You got ISIS claiming responsibility for it. I'm sure in some way, shape, or form, they both have responsibility for it. I'm sure he was a wackadoodle that went crazy because of some sort of ideology that he bought into. And he took it to an extreme that most people in this world would never do. It takes a real kind of evil to do what he did. And I can't really explain why he did it, but he did it. But it's a product of the system that we live in, and it has nothing to do with guns. Don't buy into the whole gun thing. The guns didn't kill anybody. The guns don't pull its own trigger. It takes a human being to do it. But guns are very important in our society because they're the only thing that stand in the way between us and oppressive government. And let me tell you something. Taking away or restricting gun ownership doesn't take the guns away from the bad people. They still get the guns. The only thing it takes it away from are the good people. I mean, it's the way it is. So that's crap. But letting our non-representing representatives and the deep state that totally controls things from behind the scenes dictate Russian policy or policy with Russia, or foreign policy with regards to Russia, is an outrage. And I'm surprised more people aren't pissed off about this. Paul Craig Roberts continues. He says, public Russia bashing, of course, predates Trump. Russia bashing became even more intense when Washington's coup in the Ukraine failed to deliver Crimea. Got to remember that. It wasn't the Russians that invaded Crimea. It was our coup that caused it to happen. Now, Washington had intended for the new Ukrainian regime to evict the Russians from their naval base in the Black Sea. And the goal was frustrated when Crimea voted to rejoin Russia because a lot of people in Crimea are ethnic Russians. Same thing that you see going on in Catalonia, or the Catalan uprising has been absolutely textbook what Crimea went through. And guess what they're doing today? They're declaring their independence against a monarch, something that we did over 200 years ago. Do you think our country's going to go out and support them? No, it's not. Our country's going to go and bash them and, oh, you shouldn't break away from Spain and Spain's our ally and all this kind of stuff. It's not going to happen. So this whole Russia bashing thing is so much larger than RussiaGate. You know, the U.S., the neoconservative ideology of U.S. world hedge money requires the principal goal of U.S. foreign policy to be to prevent the rise of other countries that can serve as a restraint on U.S. unilateralism. I mean, Paul Craig Roberts nails it right there. He continues, he says, the danger lies in Washington's convincing Russia that Washington is planning a surprise attack on Russia. With U.S. and NATO bases on Russian borders, efforts to arm Ukraine and to include Ukraine and Georgia in NATO provide more evidence that Washington is surrounding Russia for an attack. And there's nothing more reckless and irresponsible than convincing a nuclear power that you're going to attack. So Washington is full aware that there was no Russian interference. I mean, it'd be great if we had Julian Assange's email out there to just, lay it to rest. And I'm sure it'll come out. But all these people in Washington know that. The military security complex, the neoconservatives, and the Democratic Party, only because they use this as a political agenda, are merely using the accusations to serve their own agendas. And he concludes, he says, these selfish agendas are a dire threat to life on Earth. Absolutely, it most certainly is. Now, do I think they have the guts to pull the trigger like a Kim Jong-un or something like that? No, I don't. But these terrorist attacks, these crazy, batshit crazy Looney Tune people that open fire on many people, I would wager to say you're going to see a lot more of that coming up. Because as this RussiaGate fizzles, as it will, they're going to start ratcheting up things that affect events and places that you hold dear. Just watch. Just watch. It's all part of the game. I'm Joe Joseph. This was thedailysheeple.com's News Shot. Feel free to comment below and visit our website at thedailysheeple.com. Have a great day, everybody.